Tonight, slammed by summer storms.
We've never seen anything like this, nothing even close.
Which area has declared a state of emergency as communities across the parkland grapple with the aftermath? Also tonight, ridership and revenue recede.
More walking distance between stops. You have to wait a lot longer.
How much of a financial shortfall Winnipeg Transit is facing and what's behind falling ridership. Plus, desperate times and desperate crimes.
We were thinking it's going to be around that 20 grand that we're going to have to spend to fix it.
Farmers left frustrated and facing hefty bills as thieves turn to stripping irrigation equipment for scrap.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Severe summer storms have left Western Manitoba communities scrambling to recover services. The municipality of Minitonas-Bozeman is under a state of emergency tonight, from flooded roads and power outages to evacuations and a boil water advisory. The situation is chaotic and stressful tonight. CTV's Harrison Shin has been following all of the developments for us today and joins us now with the latest. Harrison, what is the situation there tonight?
Marilee, it's still unclear. More than 1,000 Manitoba Hydro customers are still without power tonight, and this was just posted about 2 hours ago. Minitonas will shut off the water from 7 p.m. tonight until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. This road, gone. And first responders on their way to rescue people.
I've lived here since 2000, and we've never seen anything like this, nothing even close.
Monday morning, the municipality of Minitonas-Bozeman declared a state of emergency, and shortly after, a gas line ruptured, leading to a notice of evacuation for some residents.
Our crews can't get to that particular area to work on that gas leak, so they're going by helicopter into Swan River to shut off the gas line feed to that whole community, just for safety. And as soon as we can get in to address the situation in the town, we will.
And Minitonas is not the only Westman community hit hard. Verdun also experienced high wind that knocked out trees in the town's cemetery.
Our crews are still assessing the damage out there, and it was about 15 to 16 trees had fallen over and damaged a lot of the older headstones.
On Monday afternoon, Environment and Climate Change Canada issued a weather summary saying that Minitonas received 147 milliliters of rain, about 6 inches, double the average for June.
Getting 6 inches of rain in just a matter of hours, 2 months worth of rain, is quite significant. So, you know, something that you wouldn't see in at least 50 or maybe 100 years.
Fleming says his community has turned into a war zone.
The roads are washed out, and it's crazy. We can't go east, we can't go west. Board crossings are washed out, bridges are washed out. Yeah, it's quite a situation that we're in here.
Manitoba Hydro said as of Monday afternoon, there are about 1,200 customers still without power, mostly around Verdun, Swan River, and the Sioux Valley area.
Harrison, is there an estimated time for power to be back on?
Not as of right now, Marilee. Hydro is mobilizing crews from Brandon all the way to Morden, trying to restore the service. Hydro says if you do come across a flooded basement or any kind of electrical risks, call 911.
All right, thanks for this, Harrison. CTV Weather Specialist Colleen Brady joins us now with the first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. That was not your typical storm.
No.
What can you tell us about that system, Colleen?
Well, basically, we had the jet stream that was pumping up heat and humidity into southern Manitoba coming up from the south. Now, it encountered an upper-level disturbance coming out of Alberta, basically a cold front. So when you have relatively colder air encountering the heat and humidity of that air mass coming up from the south, you can well imagine what resulted. Well, you can do more than imagine. We showed you what happened in Minitonas, but Minitonas was one of a number of areas in the southwest and into parts of the Interlake throughout the weekend where it was a pretty tenuous situation. We had a tornado watch that was in effect for Brandon and many other communities in the southwest on Saturday for several hours, and then yesterday another tornado watch issued from really the southwest corner of the province through Melita, really diagonally up into Swan River and out to Russell. Fortunately, no tornadoes did develop, but tomorrow could be a different story. We get a break tonight, but more severe weather is likely to show up tomorrow in southern Manitoba. I'll show you why and when we could see that happen coming up. But for now, let's take a look through the CTV Live Eye. It is brought to you by Bath Fitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. In Winnipeg right now, it is 26 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud. Winds picking up from the west, 27 kilometers an hour with gusts up to 42. It's a little windy out there. The pressure's rising, and the humidity right now merrily is 26%.
Thanks, Colleen. Arrest tonight in a suspicious death here in Winnipeg we first told you about last week. The body of 32-year-old Jamie Raymond Asham was found outside a home in the 700 block of Stella Avenue on May 30th. Investigators determined the death was a homicide, and on Thursday, just after 7 p.m., officers arrested a woman at a home in the 600 block of Pritchard Avenue. The following day, a second arrest was made at an apartment complex on Park East Drive. 33-year-old Lance Pavel Beardy and 40-year-old Nicole Marie Lajamodier are both charged with second-degree murder and remain in custody. A 15-year-old girl is facing a number of charges tonight for allegedly stabbing a jogger in St. Vital. The man in his 40s was running along Abbotsford Crescent Saturday night when he was randomly approached by two youth. Police say the teens initially asked him for the time before threatening and stabbing the man in the upper body. With the help of Air One, the tactical support team, and K9 unit, two suspects were tracked down and arrested. This man tells us one of them was found hiding in his backyard.
The police came around and was just start chat with us and basically asked, can we look behind? And we were like, sure. And to our surprise, we found that the last suspect that they were looking for was behind our shed.
A 15-year-old girl is charged with assault causing bodily harm, uttering threats, possession of a weapon, and failing to comply with an undertaking. She remains in custody. A 16-year-old boy was released without any charges. Manitoba's police watchdog is investigating after a man was injured during an interaction with RCMP in south central Manitoba Saturday night. It happened shortly before 10 at a home on Hampton Street East in McGregor. According to a police report, officers responded to a call about an intoxicated man throwing rocks at some youth. While attempting to take the man into custody, RCMP say a confrontation broke out and one of the officers fired their weapon. Although the man was not shot, he was injured by the firearm discharging and was brought to hospital by air ambulance. The 33-year-old has since been treated and released. Anyone with information or video footage is asked to call the IIU. Bus ridership is declining in Winnipeg, causing a financial crunch. The city is projecting an $18 million revenue shortfall this year. This after the new transit network was launched a year ago this month. Standing by live with those details is CTV's Jeff Keel. So Jeff, what is the city and transit saying about this?
Well, they say ridership started to decline long before the new network was launched. They say a change at the federal level started the slide. Brian Hunt is not taking the bus as much as he once did.
Because of the new service?
It's been nearly a year since Winnipeg Transit switched to that new transit network with the aim of being more efficient, frequent, and reliable. Hunt says it's been less convenient for him.
More walking distance between stops. You have to wait a lot longer. And they don't go where they used to go.
The 2026 budget predicted transit would face a revenue shortfall of $11.1 million due to declining ridership levels. Now, a first quarter finance report says the shortfall is forecasted at $18.4 million.
I mean, that's certainly a concern. Number of factors. Again, we did make the largest change to the transit network in generations.
Finance Committee Chair Jeff Brawadi says there are growing pains with the new system, but he says the city is making changes to improve service, and they continue to do so. He also says they need to attract new riders to the bus.
Well, I think we make the case that the transit is convenient, that it's fast, that it's safe. The new system will take more people to more places. I do believe in my heart of hearts.
I think it was definitely hard to get used to at first, but for me, I think it was more beneficial.
But Winnipeg Transit says ridership started to drop in late 2024, well before the network changes, when the federal government capped the number of international students and foreign workers who could live here. The city says that's the big reason numbers on board are declining. We know these demographics rely heavily on public transit. Safety has also been an issue. The city has hired safety officers to patrol buses. Police officers are too. And fare evasion continues to be a problem From January to April, the community safety team reported more than 20,000 interactions with passengers that involved fare enforcement.
I still see people going on and not paying their fare. The odd time you see a bit of violence, but I haven't seen too much of that lately.
Barwadi says the city is promoting the new transit network with radio and online ads.
Jeff, what does the finance report say about the city's overall projections?
Yeah, the projection there is a $14 million shortfall by year's end. If need be, that can be covered off by the rainy day fund. The city says it is facing a number of pressures, including snow and ice clearing, which I don't think you have to worry about today. And like everyone else, the cost of fuel.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for this, Jeff. One person was found dead and 3 others were taken to hospital after 2 fires. The first broke out around 1:30 Friday afternoon at a 2-story apartment building in the 400 block of Ross Avenue. Crews had that blaze under control within about a half an hour, but a person was found dead inside the suite where the fire started. The other fire happened early Saturday morning around 3 a.m. This one broke out at a house in the 500 block of Flora Avenue. 3 people were trapped inside and had to be rescued. They were all transported to hospital, one in unstable condition. Both of these fires are under investigation. Meantime, a firefighter was injured and 1 person was sent to hospital after a Saturday night fire. Crews were sent to a 2-story rooming house in the 300 block of Redwood Avenue around 9:30 Saturday night. All of the residents evacuated, but 1 person was sent to hospital in unstable condition. A firefighter was also injured at the scene and sent to hospital. He was in stable condition. The cause of this fire is under investigation. A serious motor vehicle crash early Sunday morning shut down the northbound lanes of the St. James Bridge. 2 motorcycles collided at Portage Avenue and Century Street. A red motorcycle, as you can see, could be seen laying in the northbound lanes of the bridge. Part of the Viscount Gord Hotel's parking lot even had to be closed off to the public as officers responded. The traffic division is investigating the cause. 4 years ago, the province introduced laws to crack down on catalytic converter thefts. But now, one Winnipeg man believes the crime is on the rise again after a rude awakening Monday morning. CTV's Daniel Helmerson explains.
Harvey Cheddar's had some hard luck lately. A few weeks ago, he and his wife were rear-ended driving on Henderson Highway.
They were going about 60, didn't even try to stop. We were at a red light.
Their Hyundai Accent was written off as a result. So on Friday, the couple brought home a brand new Mitsubishi RVR.
2026, it's got about 50 kilometers on it.
Cheddar says he was woken up early Monday morning by someone more than just admiring his new ride.
I heard the tapping of the hammer. And of course, my spidey senses were up by then. I ran out screaming, what are you doing in my car?
He says a man crawled out from underneath and threatened him with a hammer before taking off in a waiting vehicle.
I was outraged. I mean, how brazen they were. I mean, it's 5 a.m., it's completely light out.
Cheddar says the man was trying to steal the catalytic converter, which contains precious metals, from the SUV. In 2022, Winnipeg police alone clocked nearly 1,800 catalytic converter thefts. In response, the province introduced a Scrap Metal Act to help combat the crime. It also started an initiative where owners can get catalytic converters engraved with the vehicle identification number. By 2024, the number of thefts reported in Winnipeg plummeted significantly, but Cheddar thinks thefts are on the rise yet again after calling an auto body shop Monday.
They said they received about 10 calls in the last 30 days, and that was just one shop, obviously.
A police spokesperson tells CTV News there has been a, quote, anecdotal uptick in thefts again, but couldn't provide current numbers. However, they say the property crime unit is aware of recent reports and is in the process of investigating.
You're just trying to make your way in this world, and you got criminals stealing from you the moment you bring it home.
Daniel Helmerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
CTV News also reached out to Manitoba Public Insurance for statistics. A spokesperson says they are working on a response. Well, with higher fuel and fertilizer costs already squeezing farmers, many in rural Manitoba are now facing another costly challenge: theft. Recent copper wire thefts are leaving some producers with damaged equipment and hefty repair bills.
We were thinking it's going to be around that 20 grand that we're going to have to spend to fix it.
Farmer Rachel Prodden is referring to her farm's pivot irrigation system and the copper wire which was stolen from it recently. The theft rendered it unusable. The damage hasn't stopped there, though. Prodden says the copper wire in one of her corn planters was also stripped, completely destroying the equipment in the process. She was forced to buy a new machine, which cost around $50,000. In response to similar incidents, others in the region have already implemented extensive security measures to try and help prevent future thefts. Near Elm Creek, Colin Penner has installed security cameras and additional lighting around his property. He says the rise in rural theft is troubling.
Rural theft, it's a big thing, right? We depend on our tractors, our trucks, and our equipment for our livelihood. And when they disappear on us, it can really impact how we can do our job.
Manitoba brought in the Scrap Metal Act 4 years ago. It bans the sale of stripped metallic wire without proof of ownership, but Prodden says more needs to be done. In the meantime, she's offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the thefts. The City of Winnipeg archives hold a treasure trove of pictures, maps, and documents from the earliest days of our city. Soon, the agency tasked with preserving our past will have a brand new building to hold it all in. And today, we got our first look inside. Our cameras were invited inside for a look at the new home of the City of Winnipeg archives. It's the Carnegie Library on William Avenue, built between 1903 and 1905. The building was Winnipeg's first purpose-built library. It became the second most accessed library in all of Canada. It was also the former home of the archives, but was forced to relocate in 2013 due to rainstorm damage. Now, that historic building is almost ready to return in the retrofitted building.
We're thrilled to come back here to our home, to a proper archival facility. This is the first time in our history where we will have a purpose-built archival facility that will protect the records in a temperature and humidity controlled vault, to make them available to the public in new and accessible ways, and also to connect people to their history.
The renovations for the archives building are expected to wrap up next year. Winnipeg Transit is once again making adjustments to its new system in an effort to improve service for riders. A number of route changes are coming when the summer transit schedule takes effect June 21st. The changes are the result of feedback Transit has received from residents. Some of the highlights include a new terminal on Kennedy Street, giving better access to users visiting the Winnipeg Clinic, Manitoba Hydro Place, and Canada Life Centre. The D16 Notre Dame route is also being split into two. The new D16 will go from Polo Park downtown, while the new D18 will take riders from RRC Notre Dame to downtown. And the south boundary of on-request Zone 106 from Edison Avenue to Kimberley Avenue is being extended in an effort to improve service on evenings and weekends. You can learn more about all of the summer changes online at winnipegtransit.com. Still to come tonight, the pitch from Pierre Poilievre.
Demonizing people who have lost hope in Canada is no way to restore it.
How the opposition leader is taking on Alberta separation and his campaign to keep Canada united. Plus, the latest on a devastating earthquake that hit the Philippines. Those stories and more when we return. As rent prices fall across much of the province, they continue to climb here in Manitoba. According to the latest monthly analysis from rentals.ca, asking rents nationally on average are down about $100 a month from a year ago, a drop of 4.7%. But here in Manitoba, rent is up 2.1%. Despite the jump, Manitoba is far from the priciest province to be a renter. Nova Scotia now sits in top spot at just over $2,300 a month, knocking BC to second spot, followed by Ontario. The average rent here in Manitoba is now $1,659 a month, just $4 less than it is in Alberta. Our neighbors in Saskatchewan, however, are paying less than $1,400 a month on average. Turning to the markets now, crude oil added 76 cents. The Canadian dollar dropped 1/10 of a cent. Gold lost $1.90. The TSX gained 65 points. The Dow Jones is down 80 points, while the Nasdaq rose 220 points. The Bank of Canada is set to announce its latest interest rate decision this week, and economists expect the central bank to hold its benchmark interest rate steady for a fifth consecutive time Wednesday. The bank has kept its key interest rate at 2.25% since October 2025. Its governing council says it's closely monitoring the impact of the war between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. The update also comes as Canada has entered a technical recession for the first time since 2010. A keynote speech from the leader of the opposition in the heart of Alberta today. Pierre Poilievre was in Calgary waving the Canada flag, but also calling for policy changes to counter a growing separatist sentiment. CTV's Kathy Lee now on what was said and reaction to it.
Pierre Poilievre used his speech today at the Legion in Calgary to launch what he says will be a campaign to keep Alberta in Canada. Here's a little bit of what he had to say.
Those who are choosing separation from Canada are not our enemies. Demonizing people who have lost hope in Canada is no way to restore it. Name-calling, fear-mongering, and ostracizing will only worsen and broaden the divide.
Poilievre made the case against separation, but also acknowledged the frustrations driving some Albertans toward it. His message was that Alberta doesn't need to leave Canada. It needs different policies coming out of Ottawa and changes on issues like pipelines, resource development, taxes, and provincial autonomy. He repeatedly urged Albertans to lock arms with other parts of the country rather than pull away from them.
I really enjoyed his speech. He was able to bring a lot of people together and address the separation without looking down on anybody.
I would want separation, yes.
So did this convince you at all?
No, not at all, because I don't think it's fixable by the Liberals.
Oh, it's very good. He talked about a united, strong Canada and Alberta within a united, strong Canada.
On October 19th, Albertans will either vote to remain in Canada or start the legal process towards a future binding referendum on separation. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
It was a day of pomp and circumstance in Ottawa as champion for human rights and former Supreme Court Justice Louise Arbour took over the role of Governor General. CTV's Mike LeCouture has more on the swearing-in ceremony.
Ushered into the Senate by an honor guard, Louise Arbour took her first steps into Canadian history as Canada's 31st Governor General. The former Supreme Court Justice will be tasked with being a symbol of unity and a guardian of constitutional order.
These duties call for sound judgment, deep learning, and an unwavering commitment to the rule of law.
Carney added those are the same principles on which Arbour built her long career.
It is through our differences that we will build a common future.
In a wide-ranging 20-minute speech, Canada's new Governor General celebrated the country's diversity and differences, saying that is how people will build a common future.
Extreme polarization is dangerous, but so is extreme consensus. It is through our differences and our fundamental right to express them that we will nourish critical thinking, creativity, and innovation.
A message that resonated with other dignitaries who attended the ceremony.
She stands for human rights, she stands for justice, she stands for equality, and she laid that all out.
While taking over from Canada's first Indigenous Governor General, Mary Simon, Arbour underlined the importance of reconciliation.
I'm looking forward to working with her in her new capacity, but I know that we are in good stead.
While her message was one of unity and a call to lead on the global stage, Arbour also injected a hint of patriotic humor.
We don't think we are perfect, but we believe we're pretty well on the way there.
Arbour also noted the progress made by the armed forces, without mentioning her damning 2022 report on sexual misconduct in the military. She'll now be the figurehead of the institution as the Commander-in-Chief of Canada. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
In the Middle East, Israel and Iran appear to have backed away from further strikes against each other. Yesterday, both sides traded fire for the first time since the U.S. agreed to a ceasefire with Tehran 2 months ago. The new attacks prompted Donald Trump to call for an immediate stop to the fighting. Soon after, Iran said it was halting offensive strikes, but warned there would be a response to further hostile acts. Israel then implied the current round of fighting is over, but also insisted it would retaliate if there were more attacks. To Armenia now, where Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan is claiming victory in an election seen as a test of Russia's influence on that country.
Priorities, of course, first of all, connected with regional peace and stability.
Preliminary results show Pashinyan and his governing Civil Contract Party with roughly half of the vote. They're looking to distance Armenia from Moscow and deepen cooperation with the West. His main opponent was a billionaire who made his fortune in Russia, who's currently under house arrest accused of advocating to overthrow the government. A massive search and rescue operation is underway in the southern Philippines. A major earthquake hit with a magnitude of 7.8. The death toll now stands at 35, with more than 200 people injured. The city of General Santos was hardest hit. Since the quake yesterday, there have been more than 200 aftershocks, the most powerful a magnitude 6.7. The initial quake also triggered a landslide in Glan and sent a 3-foot tsunami into nearby coasts. The United States says it's ready to support response efforts along with France, Japan, and New Zealand. With just days until the first World Cup match, Team Canada took the pitch in front of a crowd at Downsview Park this morning. Several players stopped to sign autographs ahead of practice. Jacob Schaffelberg and Ali Ahmed took part in their first full training sessions, while Moise Bombito is in modified training. Captain Alphonso Davies, who has already been ruled out as Canada's first match, was spotted running separately from the team. The squad will take on Bosnia at Toronto Stadium Friday. Downtown Transcona was filled with hellos over the weekend.
To me, it's just the feeling of family, neighborhood, kind of old school values to unplug and just enjoy the moment.
The 2026 Transcona High Neighbor Festival took place this weekend, marking the 62nd year the festival has helped connect neighbors to each other. A parade, amusement rides, pancake breakfast, live music, and much more entertained all of those in attendance.
What we can do is get people aware of the issues at hand and how they can adapt to those situations.
Oh dear is right. Not wanting to pass the buck, two young people took it upon themselves to make their community a little safer. We'll show you how they landed the support of the city when we return.
And likely to have a soggy midweek in Winnipeg, but we do need the precipitation. Showers look likely on Wednesday, high of just 23, just 17 by Thursday, with an even higher likelihood of a more steady rainfall. Then we get into Friday, still 17 degrees, mix of sun and cloud with a low chance of showers, but not zero. The weekend, well, not nearly as hot as the one just passed. 18 degrees Saturday under a mix of sun and cloud. It may get a little cloudy at times. A mix of sun and cloud on Sunday, a little warmer, getting up to 21 degrees.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
University of Manitoba students and staff are celebrating a local researcher who was featured in an Emmy-winning documentary about the disappearing Greenland ice sheet.
When we opened these boxes, it was just like finding, gold or something better than gold.
That's the U of M's Dorth Dahl Jensen speaking in the official trailer for The Memory of Darkness, Light, and Ice. The documentary follows Dahl Jensen and other scientists as they analyze ice cores collected beneath Greenland during the Cold War and their accidental discovery the sheet had melted before. The film highlights how by looking 416,000 years into the past, scientists can actually predict what will happen in the future. Today, U of M students got a chance to screen the award-winning documentary alongside Dahl Jensen, who sits as the research chair of the Center for Earth Observation Science at the university.
How much smaller? It's really, really exciting. It's always great when your work comes out to many people, but I also find it so fantastic that it's seen so popular that it can reach a broader audience, which is extremely important for us in science.
How much smaller?
The film took 3 years to make, and in addition to an Emmy, it's also won the Environmental Filmmaking Award and was named Best Feature Documentary at the Raw Science Film Festival. You can watch The Memory of Darkness, Light, and Ice on a number of streaming platforms, including YouTube. Two grade 12 students are making a creative and long-lasting impact in Winnipeg's Wildwood community. Zachary Zagalski and Reese Jasal were tasked with creating change in their community as part of a school assignment. To get a sense of what is important to Wildwood residents, they decided to knock on neighborhood doors and found out traffic was a big concern, along with the deer population which frequently crosses through it. So the pair came up with the idea of placing 50 lawn signs with the phrase, "Oh dear, watch out," throughout the area.
We ended up meeting with the mayor of Winnipeg, Scott Gillingham, and so what he decided to do was he was going to support this project through city funds. And so we went to CityWorks. We teamed up with a local graphic designer in Evan Coos within the Wildwood community, and we said we need something that is, you know, suitable for a community landscape, but also noticeable to make enough change from ongoing drivers. And so we decided to create these signs just based off of the need of the community.
And their work didn't stop there. They've now secured 3 permanent signs the city is going to be putting up at major intersections. No surprise, they both received a nearly perfect grade for their efforts at school. Well, there's one more reason to get out and explore the great outdoors this weekend. The province is waiving vehicle permits for provincial parks, and you can fish without a license from Friday to Sunday. Regular camping fees are still in place, and you still will need a federal fishing license if you're at a national park. All other angling regulations, such as possession limits and size restrictions, still apply. You're also encouraged to keep fire prevention in mind.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with your complete Skywatch forecast, and it looks like we're going to get a break from this extreme heat we've been experiencing as of late.
Yes, we will do that, although tomorrow will be very warm. It's what comes after that temperature-wise will bring that relief, but it's what's coming tomorrow, in addition to the heat and humidity, that we certainly all have to be vigilant against tomorrow. Thunderstorms that could become severe, and all manner of hazards are in play. We could see substantial rainfall. We could see sizable hail, very strong wind gusts, and even tornadoes are possible. We've already had some already just last week, as you well know. Tonight, though, is the break. It looks like a pretty inactive night weather-wise. You can see winds coming out of the west across the south, the sky relatively clear, and it should stay that way for much of the province tonight. Next door in northwestern Ontario, we still have this line of non-severe thunderstorms now moving to the east of Red Lake. A little bit more cloud there, although it's a little clearer around Kenora. But you can see those showers wrap right back around well to the north and back around a low that's circulating over northern Saskatchewan, and some of that rain has clipped the most northern parts of the province today. Meanwhile, overnight we go fairly clear. You can see we get into Tuesday morning, so the expectation is a low will be forming over western North Dakota. There'll be a warm front associated with it that will run from west to east, and as it slowly makes its way into Manitoba late tomorrow afternoon, that's when we'll likely start to see some of this active and potentially severe weather develop. Timing always difficult to forecast with these types of thunderstorms, but it looks like later on in the afternoon we'll start to see things get more active first in the southwest, but even within a couple of hours you can see how it really starts to intensify, and likely this will affect the southeast as well. Really, much of southern Manitoba needs to be vigilant tomorrow night in particular. So we'll likely see thunderstorms develop here in the southeast in the evening, heavy rain accompanying it, and again we could see these thunderstorms become outright severe. The conditions atmospherically look certainly like that will be a very definite possibility. Overnight we go, you can see that starts to break down. A little bit of rain still scattered and pushing further to the north, with that system taking us into Wednesday, where we'll see the showers down here in the south, and temperatures will be considerably cooler than they will be tomorrow on the backside of that system. Ahead of it though, tonight clear down to 14 degrees, mainly clear, winds out of the southwest at 15 kilometers an hour. Sunshine for the commute tomorrow, warm 19 degrees, light winds out of the southeast, but once we hit the noon hour, the winds will start to strengthen out of the southeast. A hot high tomorrow, 31 for Winnipeg, with that risk of thunderstorms as early as the afternoon. The UV index for Tuesday for the city is 8 or very high. In the northeast tonight, you could see showers or thunderstorms early this evening in most areas. Churchill, the temperature will rise to 12 by tomorrow morning. That's why you see the asterisk. Thompson, 13 tonight, just a few clouds, sunny and windy there, and 26 sunshine across the rest of the northeast. In the northwest tonight, a few clouds for most areas. Overnight lows 13-14 degrees. Sunny around the region tomorrow. Very warm, mid to upper 20s. In the southwest tonight, clear. Brandon down to 10, Dauphin down to 13. Mix of sun and cloud with that low chance of showers tomorrow. But then again, watch out for the potential for severe thunderstorms to develop later in the afternoon. Highs between 23 and 25. A few clouds at most tonight over the southeast. Winnipeg down to 14, 13-14 around the region. And then again, that chance of showers or thunderstorms in the afternoon. Hot highs upper 20s, low 30s. And in northwestern Ontario, showers coming through tonight. It'll be this evening where there's the greatest risk of thunderstorms. And then tomorrow, hot too, 29, 30 degrees under sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud. Let's take a look at these storm clouds, starting with this one from Brad. Now, this was Saturday evening. This was a storm that moved north of Douglas. That's near Brandon. He said there was quarter-sized hail falling there. And this next photo is from Krista. Look at this incredible shelf cloud. That's usually associated with the leading edge of a storm. Now, this one was over Harwell, Manitoba. That's right in the Interlake. Send us your weather photos to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
An important signal from the federal government that they are watching this situation closely.
Still to come, the federal government launches a new loan program to help airlines struggling with the high cost of jet fuel. Why the idea has its critics when we return. With the fragile ceasefire being tested in the Middle East, the markets have remained steady. But as oil and gas prices continue to fluctuate, Ottawa has announced a program to help airlines cope with high fuel prices. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver takes us through the relief package and how it'll work.
Ahead of a busy travel season, the federal government is offering airlines a boost to help offset the impact of turbulent oil prices.
This is an important step, an important signal from the federal government that they are watching this situation closely and that they're willing to put some money on the table to prevent, difficulties from taking place in the Canadian airline industry.
Experts say domestic ticket prices in Canada have gone up at least 15% since the war in Iran began. In late April, U.S. Gulf Coast jet fuel hit $4.34 USD a gallon. Now it's fallen to around $3.50 a gallon, still well above the pre-war price, where it hovered around $2.
It will take some time for things to go back to normal. Even if the Strait of Hormuz reopens this month, it's going to take time for ships to travel back to it and then the oil from the Middle East to hit global markets.
The Finance Department says that's why they're offering airlines up to $150 million in repayable loans to provide stability and to ensure continued reliable flight access for Canadian air travelers.
The marketplace will drive airline behavior. This strategy of $150 million with strings attached is not going to be enough to drive the airline behavior.
The Conservatives, though, doubt this plan that, similar to what Ottawa offered airlines during the pandemic, will help passengers.
The consumer is never never the one that gets the benefit from any of these government bailouts. They are not fixing the crux of the problem.
Airlines who choose to apply for these loans will have to agree to limit executive compensation and to maintain Canadian operations. But the exact details, according to finance officials, will be up for negotiation. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say the current Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has the potential to become the largest on record. It's already the fourth largest on record, with at least 60 confirmed deaths. Researchers say it could quickly surpass other historic outbreaks if strong public health interventions are not implemented rapidly. They say it could become as large as the 2014 to 2016 outbreak in West Africa that infected more than 28,000 people and left more than 11,000 dead. A massive international study says researchers have developed a potential breakthrough, a blood test that could detect lung cancers before they develop. The study, published in the journal Cell, says a global team of more than 80 scientists discovered a specific set of proteins in the blood which can predict lung cancer more than 5 years before a medical diagnosis. Using the UK Biobank blood data set and machine learning, the researchers identified 14 blood proteins which they called a signal or signature, which predicted who was at risk. By using a blood test to identify people with high lung inflammation, doctors may be able to use targeted anti-inflammatory drugs to stop lung cancer from forming in the first place.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manuke and Koster Denture Clinic.
Tapeface has another date with Winnipeg. All the details coming up in Spotlight.
Spotlight sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Andre-Philippe Gagnon.
He has a knack for making people laugh without ever opening his mouth, and he's bringing his world-renowned show back to Winnipeg. America's Got Talent finalist Tapeface, whose real name is Sam Wills, will be taking the stage at Club Region Event Center this fall. Wills brings physical comedy to life with everyday objects and audience members and a little imagination through his simple yet clever acts. The show is set for November 22nd. Tickets go on sale Thursday through Ticketmaster. A vibrant cultural series is returning to St. Boniface this summer season. It's called Jeudi Franco Thursdays and celebrates French language and culture. There will be weekly programming offered showcasing the best of the area, including live music and entertainment, sports, a summer market, and art exhibitions.
St. Boniface is really well known for Festival de Voyageurs, and but what a lot of people may not know, especially outside of St. Boniface, is that there's stuff to see and do year-round in the area, and this is one great way that we can showcase that to the rest of Winnipeg and also to visitors that come to Winnipeg in the summer.
The event kicks off June 11th and runs through the end of August. For more information, you can head to jeudifranco.com. Tickets are now on sale for our city's largest ethno-cultural celebration. It starts in just 55 days. Folklorama is back for the first 2 weeks in August. You can now lock down single admission tickets, discounted 10-packs, and VIP tours. 2 new pavilions join the roster this year, the Salvadorian Pavilion and the Heart of Romania Pavilion. And returning this year are the Chilean and First Nations as well as Mexican pavilions. There will also be a kickoff event at Assiniboine Park's Lyric Theatre July 25th. You can find tickets by visiting folklorama.ca/festival. The Tony Awards were handed out in New York City last night, and as promised, Pink kicked things off with a huge performance. Also making appearances were Megan Thee Stallion, Neil Patrick Harris, and more than 100 other Broadway performers. As for the awards, Schmigadoon won the Best New Musical, Ragtime won Best Musical Revival, and the award for Best New Play went to Liberation. And there was also a Manitoba tie-in to one of the most coveted awards.
Joshua Henry.
Joshua Henry won for Best Performance by an actor in a leading role in a musical for his role in Ragtime. Henry was born in Winnipeg but moved to the U.S. at a young age. Meanwhile, Casey Levy, who is from Hamilton, won Best Performance by an actress in a leading role. Levy is the first Canadian actress to ever win in that category. Your Monday primetime lineup kicks off at 7 with the quiz with balls. American Ninja Warrior is at 8. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Winnipeg shows its pride. Still to come, we bring you all the fun and excitement from the 39th annual Pride Parade, which took over downtown this weekend. Stay with us.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
27 our highest temperature today. The normal high 23, a lot warmer than we were on this day 1 year ago. Tonight clear, we drop down to around 14 degrees. There is a risk of thunderstorms as early as tomorrow afternoon. Hot 31, but watch for showers and thunderstorms tomorrow night. Showers and cooler Wednesday. Rain even more likely and cooler still on Thursday. We might see showers Friday, but the chance is lower. But look at that, cool. You might like those cooler temperatures for the weekend. Mix of sun and cloud. 18 and 21 degrees Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, a bit of a reprieve. All right. Well, finally for us tonight, thousands of people took part in this weekend's annual Pride Parade, and thousands more lined the streets in a show of support and solidarity. CTV News once again live streamed the event, hosted by our own Colleen Brady and Catherine Dow. And if you'd like to check it out, all you have to do is head to our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. Tonight, though, we're going to leave you with some of the highlights so you can enjoy. Have a good night.
It's really all about bringing the community together. It's about love and inclusion, about acceptance, and about building the kind of city where everybody feels and knows that they belong.
Some people are transgender, some people are gay, and some people don't appreciate that, but lots of people do.
I love seeing community come together and celebrate individuality, celebrate love, celebrate diversity. It's so important.
The best event, bringing our community together with love. Everyone belongs. This is how it should be. Love is love.
The best thing about this, like, look at everybody's outside having fun. This is all about love, because love is love, everyone. Yes.
I am more than grateful